I'm Matt with eTrailer. Today we're going to be talking about the Benton Shifts&Grins Bike Rack, and this is going to be the one for 4 bikes. Now I'm just going to unfold this because one of the main things I like about this one is that it's very compact, so when you're trying to store it in your garage, it's not going to take up very much space. And we're going to be talking about how this fits on our 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 2500. Now what's nice about this is it comes in 2 parts. We're going to have the 2-bike variation that gets a 2-on-bike extension to it. That's nice because this is a heavy rack, and trying to pick up the whole thing in just one go is going to be pretty difficult, especially on the Silverado, since it is a little bit higher off the ground compared to your standard vehicle. And what's nice is we're going to have this alignment collar, so that's going to let us more easily align our pinhole so we can put our anti-rattle bolt through. And really, this is going to be a great rack if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable so you can take your whole family out with you when you're riding. And even when you don't want to take the whole family out riding with you, you can simply just take off this add-on piece and put it on the very back. Either way you go, it's just going to be a lot easier to work with, and it's going to save you time and space when you're on the road or when you're at home. And what's also great about this rack is it's not going to limit you from using your tailgate, because a lot of times you're going to have clearance issues with that tailgate coming down. But to really show you what I mean is if I come over here to the very back of this, we'll have this little button. I'll just press on that and lower this down. Now you can see this has a pretty extreme tilt to it. It's almost making contact with the ground, not quite, about ½ an inch of space there. And that's going to be more than enough to let me come over here and open up the back. And this is great for a couple reasons, because right now you see that we have a camper shell. If you're in a similar situation, you won't be able to get to the back of your truck without opening up your tailgate. Now we can still do that even with our bikes back here. And if you didn't have one, this just makes it easier just to manage or kind of reach in and grab whatever you need. And then once you're done, you can just push this back and shut this too. And we can put this into the seated position. Now, I will say this is a heavy rack, like I was saying before. And if you have heavier bikes, like e-bikes, because this does have a weight capacity of 55 pounds per bike, if you have this fully loaded up like that, this here is going to be a pretty heavy lift. Even lifting it with one arm, I'm kind of pulling on it, and it's not exactly easy. So if I had that fully loaded up with 4 55-pound bikes, that'd be quite the lift, and you might need a friend to help you out with that. But from here, we can take off our bike, just kind of show you what that process is going to look like. So I'm just going to press that button here and remove this strap. And you're going to have one per tire. I'll just reach over here and do the same thing. I like to start with these straps because what's mainly holding this into place is going to be this hook right here. Now you have 2 approaches you could go with this. One, you could remove this secondary piece here. If you're on these more inner bikes, it will make it easier, but I will say it is kind of annoying to have to remove that second half, especially since we're going to be reaching under here trying to do that knob and removing it at the same time. You're probably better off in most situations just kind of walking over here to the side, pressing this button, and maintaining control of your bike. Then I can push that over to the side, just like that, and stick that here for the moment. And then when you're ready, you can take this off. Again, with those heavy 55-pound bikes, this might be a little bit more difficult, but with your standard bike, this shouldn't be an issue. And if you saw, you notice that my hook was kind of on the frame of this bike, and that's fine because if you have any type of fenders like we have now, this is probably not going to work if you try to put it on the tires. Now, if you have a nicer frame bike, like a carbon frame bike or a bike with a really nice paint job, I'd probably suggest sticking to put it on the wheels, and it'll still work just as good. And we just need to make sure we put everything back up because you don't want to hit the road like this. And you also don't want to lose your little hook, since that's going to be what's holding your bike in place. I also like to just maintain my straps so they're not dangling around. And if you also notice, we've got these little knobs right next to the cradles. Now with those knobs, they're actually meant to loosen these up so you can adjust where they sit on this metal bar, and that's going to help you really adjust for any type of wheelbases that you might have. And from here, let's get a few measurements. And like I said, this is quite the carrier. It's very large. But the first measurement I want to get is going to be the ground clearance. And this is going to be just about 27 inches from the ground, which is quite a bit. We actually have a slight rise to the carrier itself. Again, if you have a lot of weight back here, that might drop down by an inch or two. But really, that's more than enough space. You shouldn't ever really make ground contact. What I'd be more worried about is lifting those bikes into place. I think, like I said, if they're standard bikes, this type of lift shouldn't really be an issue for you. But once you get into around 55 pounds, you might struggle with the ones at the very end. But the ones nearest to me, probably going to be the easiest ones to load. But we can also measure how far away from our bumper we're sitting. So right now, this is going to be sitting just about 58 inches away, which is quite a bit. Most 4-bike carriers are going to sit a little bit closer than that. But this is also allowing you plenty of space to have in between each bike, because sometimes if they sit a little bit closer, there's a lot of handlebars making contact with one another, and it makes it just hard to work with. But we can save space with this still. And the way we're going to do that is two ways. One, I could either simply take off this add-on piece, or I could fold it up. I'm just going to opt to fold it up, since it's going to be the quicker way. Just press that button and push up this time. Again, this is a little heavy. And now we measure. This is only going to stick out by just about 21 inches. Now, if we have it in this position, it is going to block a few things. The main thing you're going to notice is it's going to block your license plate and your backup camera. Now, for your license plate, that's going to be pretty common for really any type of bike rack out there. And for your backup camera, I'd really just suggest using either your back window or your mirrors, because that's going to be almost completely obstructed. But even your back window is going to be a little bit obstructed. Here, right in the center, you're going to notice it sticks up a bit. So honestly, probably mainly stick to using just those mirrors. But something that's not going to be obstructed at all are going to be your taillights. So if you need to make any stops, people are going to be able to see that. In my opinion, I think this is a solid choice we have today for our Silverado, and for a few reasons. This is going to be perfect for anyone who has a family and you want to go out riding with them, because this is just going to be a very adjustable bike rack, and it's going to work with a lot of bikes, and it's going to save you space in your garage for when you're not using this, especially if you need to hook up to anything on the back of your truck, anything like a trailer. Now, if this seems a little bit bulky for you, a little bit heavy, and you need something either more compact or just a little bit lighter, there's another carrier I'd recommend, and that's going to be the Benton Shifts&Grins. What I like about that one is it's also a 4-bike carrier, but in comparison to size, it's maybe a quarter of the size of this. And the reason being is it all kind of folds up into just one piece, a bar about this long roughly, and it's going to be very light in comparison. Now the downside is it's a little bit more harder to work with putting your bikes into place, and it won't give you a sturdy hold like this one does, because this is going to be a platform style, and the Shifts&Grins is going to be a hanging style. And with a hanging style, you're going to get a little bit of movement from your bikes, but it's also going to stick a decent amount away from your truck where you're not going to make any contact. But the downside with the Shifts&Grins is it's not going to be designed to carry those heavy e-bikes like the one we have right here. So it's really just going to depend on if you have standard bikes or if you want to go the heavier route. But either way you go, you really can't go wrong. Now, we're definitely curious about how you're using this at home, whether you're going out riding with your family, and how much space this is actually storing in your garage. We'd love to hear that feedback. But again, that was just a look at some of the features of the Benton Shifts&Grins bike rack for 4 bikes on the back of our 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 2500. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.